Hi, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. My name is Nicole Armstrong. I live in East Greenwich, and I really do not want to see Kent County become the next Flint, Michigan. Flint's public officials had the laudable goal of saving some tax dollars, but it devolved into a public works tragedy because it was determined after irreversible damage to human health had been done, it was determined to be caused not by malice, but by faulty assumptions, bad science, and a failure to perform due diligence. In Flint, when local officials and policymakers switched to a new, what turned out to be corrosive water supply, and then failed to correctly treat it, as you know, it created a perfect storm that caused lead to leach from the pipes into folks' homes and created a massive water crisis that tripled the levels of lead in their children's blood. Flint's residents suffered devastating, lifelong consequences, despite initial claims that it's temporary or we looked into the science and it's safe. And now, here in Rhode Island, MedRecycler is trying to serenade us with greenwashed claims and earnest promises that we want to be good neighbors, it's safe, trust us. Smack dab in the middle of our state, they hope to pyrolyze medical waste trucked in from all over New England and New York. With little more than earnest promises, because the science isn't there, peer-reviewed studies on pyrolyzing medical waste do not exist. There are coincidental adjacent studies, and these point to the release of elevated levels of environmentally persistent, highly toxic contaminants. I don't want Rhode Island's residents to suffer devastating lifelong consequences because of faulty assumptions, bad science, and a failure to perform due diligence. This is a Superfund site in the making. And as I see it, the only beneficiaries might be Sun Pacific's shareholders, and I say may because the SEC filings report that MedRecycler's parent company is, quote, has been and is insolvent since inception, end quote. Another quote is, since our inception, we have failed to create cash flows from revenues sufficient to cover basic costs, end quote. So this company is asking Rhode Island to loan them $7.2 million to create 20 long-term jobs, while they are claiming a deficit of $10.5 million, and they have, quote, been unable to meet financial obligations. And I'm quoting from their annual report that we have not been able to accomplish to date. So like 38 Studios, this project has all the razzle-dazzle and hip jargon of cutting-edge tech, but I fear that it too will end in bankruptcy with the added affront of becoming a grotesque environmental injustice against Rhode Island. So I urge all elected officials, policymakers, and regulatory entities to please soundly reject this proposal. And I thank you for your time.